Miles, and today we'll be making butternut squash soup. It's a nice, easy dish that is delicious and nutritious all at the same time. There are a few hard parts, like actually cutting up the butternut squash, because it's like meaty and chunky, so it's, pretty difficult. And but I'm mostly sure that you'll like the outcome. It takes about 30 minutes of prep time, a grand total of about an hour, and it makes about 6 servings. Let's get cooking. First, you need to get your ingredients. I personally like to put in vegetable oil, about 2 tablespoons. And then in here I have my already cut up butternut squash. It's about 1.5 pounds and about 5 cups, or a medium-sized one. You can get them at like Kroger. A medium onion. I haven't chopped this yet, but it's about this size. A bag of frozen corn, thawed. 1.5 teaspoons of curry powder. Salt and pepper to flavor as you wish. Veggie broth. And then heavy cream, but we don't have that, so we're going to use milk. These are optional because if you're a good cook, and I'm sort of, you will know what tastes good. So you can put whatever you want. You will also need a big heavy pot and a blender or a potato masher. Once you have your ingredients, you need to prep. So to start off, you're going to want to get all of your ingredients prepped. The butternut squash being the most difficult, you're going to want to start with that. You're going to cut it into chunks, peel it, de-seed it, and then cube it. And if you don't know how to do that, then ask somebody. And this is the finished product. This is what it should look like. Next step, we're going to take the onion and we're going to cut it up. So, to start off, the quickest and easiest way that I know to cut an onion, well, I'll just show you. This, right here, this is the root end. This is the end where it actually grows. You don't want to take this off. So to start, you're going to cut off the root end. No, not the root end. The end that grows. That's wrong. Don't cut off the root end. That'll just make it worse. Now you're going to take it and you're going to put it on the flat side. And then you're going to cut it straight down the middle. Quick tip. An easy way to make it so that you don't cry while you're cutting onions: refrigerate them before. That has some chemical thingy that I don't know. Now you have 2 halves. You're going to take it like that. Still not severing the root end. You're going to take it, and with a pointy knife, you didn't need to do this, but since this knife isn't very sharp, you're going to take it, and you're going to puncture it, and then you're just going to push down. Like so. And you're going to do that 3 or 4 times, depending on how big the onion is. Keep your fingers out of the way. I mean, we all love to cook, but we don't like blood in our food. And then, you're going to take it, still not severing the root end yet. You're going to take it and you're just going to chop it along this edge. Wrap your knuckles around it instead of having it out like this, because that puts you at a higher risk of cutting off your fingers, which is not good. So wrap your knuckles around, because that way it bumps into your knuckles when you know that you're ready to stop. And then... oh, and then you're done. See? Voila. You didn't even have to cut that off end. Or end off. That was wrong. I'm sorry. Now you have that cut already. See, look. It's just already cut, and that was quick and easy. You're going to do the same thing with the other side. With the other half, I mean. Unless you weren't paying attention, I don't need to go through this again, so. I'll let you guys watch in awe at my amazing cutting skills. Not. Gonna cut it along this way again, now that you've already sliced it. And then voila, you have the root end, and it's already done. You just cut up an onion. Bravo for you. And then you have your cut up onion. And that's the end of your prepping for now. To kickstart our actual cooking process, we're going to take our vegetable oil and we're going to make a nice little spiral around our big heavy pot. I already turned it on, so it's already warming up. After it's warmed up, we're going to take our already prepared onions and butternut squash and put it in. We're going to stir it around a little bit and let it warm up and cook until these onions are nice and translucent, which on medium-high heat will take about 6 minutes. And then we're going to come back and check on that in a minute. So now these are soft. So we're going to add our corn and curry powder. We have a teaspoon and a half of curry powder here and 1 bag of frozen corn. I'm going to go ahead and add both of those in. Get our spatula here to get out the little scragglers. You don't have to get every single piece of corn. I don't think anybody will notice if you're missing one piece of corn. And we're going to cook this mix until it's fragrant, which on this heat will take about 2 minutes. So this is fragrant now. Now we're going to take our salt and pepper and we're going to season it as we feel needed. I don't know. I'll just add some in until I think it smells good. Not too much, otherwise, you know, it'll be too spicy. But like, until you have it covering, until you can see it, I feel is like always a good amount. Especially with this dish, because it's pretty big. So go ahead and add in our salt and pepper. And then stir it up a little bit. Mix it in. Then we're going to add the veggie broth. This stuff right here. Delicious. Wish you guys were here right now. You could smell it. It smells so good. And we're going to let it simmer for a little bit. So that means we're going to take it and we're going to turn the heat down to low. Until the butternut squash is fork tender, which means when you take a fork and you stick it in there, it goes right through easily. And that process will take another 25 minutes. So we're gonna walk away and let this cook for a bit. So now that it's warmed up, we're gonna check, or now that it's cooked, we're gonna take our spoon and I'm gonna show you fork tender. So you're gonna take one of these and take your fork and see how it runs right through there nice and smooth and it comes back off really smooth like that. That means that it is fork tender and you are okay to start moving on to your next step. We're going to put these spoons to the side. I'm going to take our big ladle here, and since I really don't like doing dishes, I'm just going to use this container, or this measuring cup thingy that I used for the vegetable broth. So you're going to split it in half, which for this is basically 3 heaping spoonfuls of the mix and actual food here. Oops, dropped some butternut squash. It's eager to get finished. And then we're gonna take about 2 of the spoonfuls of the broth with no chunks in it. It's gonna be kind of hard because there are a lot of chunks. That's the best I can do. I'll just do a couple of those. Ow! That is hot. Don't stick your hand in the broth. It's hot. It's gonna be a second. There we go. that should be enough. And then it's still on low heat. We're going to take our potato masher here, and this is the fun part. You take it, and you hold it like sword in the stone, then you take it and you're just going to mash repeatedly. Mash and mash and mash and mash. You're going to get some stuck on there, which is okay, just tap it on the edge. Not hard, otherwise it'll go flying. And then you're going to mash some more. You're going to Macklemore. Mash some more. You're going to stir it up a little bit. And then mash some more. And some more. Until you get a fairly smooth consistency, which is just going to take a minute. Because this is a lot of stuff. Now if you have a blender, you could just split it in half. And then blend it until it is completely smooth. And then you just stir it back in. But since I'm lazy and don't want to get that out, we're just going to do this. Which is funny, because doing this is actually more work than just getting out the blender. Almost done here. Got a few more chunks I need to break up. It's not going to look great at first, because, you know, it just looks like a bunch of corn and chunks and stringy stuff. But as soon as that is done, and it's all together and delicious looking, it's going to be delicious. Okay. So we have now since we're doing it by hand, we're not going to get a perfect, but we have a fairly smooth consistency there. And what we're going to do is, we're going to take it, we're going to set this off to the side because we don't need it anymore. And we're going to take this out because we don't need it anymore. And we're just going to go ahead and spoon it back in. It will come out like a big blob of nothing that looks good, but trust me, when you smell it, it'll be good enough. Let me get that out of there. Mix that up a little bit. And then we're going to add the heavy cream, which in this case we don't have any, so we're just going to use about a half a cup of milk. I'm going to go ahead and put that in, and then you should get a nice creamy consistency. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to eat this, it looks so good. And you have it all mixed up, and it should look like that after it's done. And then you're just going to take it, and you're going to put it back on medium-high heat, and you're going to stir it so it gets warm throughout the entire pan. We'll stir it a few times, and then leave it alone to do that. It smells good. Nice heaping spoon. Now that we have it made and all, I personally prefer to enjoy this wonderful dish with a side green salad of some sort and some like crusty bread. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. And like tea, like an iced tea. I think that all mingles pretty well. But yeah, so this is the finished product. And it's pretty good. It's hot. Still pretty hot. You have just made butternut squash soup.